Welcome back, everyone, here to the Writer's Parachute. We are guiding author and writer dreams to a perfect landing. We are back again with another very special guest. Today we have with us a Rosalind Severin McClean, and we're going to be talking to her about her two books here behind me, Oceans of Thought. They're really good books. She is an author, poet, and performer, and we will be talking to her shortly. But of course, we always start off with a topic. But before we get to that, we want to make sure we remind you to stay to the end of the show where we're going to pull the ripcord on the tip of the week. Of course, that will dovetail with what Rosalind has to say to us during the interview, but stick around. I'm sure it'll be helpful for you. So again, today we want to talk about in-person events. And the reason I'm bringing up this topic, it seems a little out of order, is I have an event coming up next Saturday. I will be at the Raelinda, Alberta County Fair, I believe, where I'll be selling my books and promoting my podcast and my books and all the things that I do. So I thought it would be fun to talk about it. So preparing for this event, I reminded myself, it's been a few years since I've done too many events because a lot of them got canceled when, the pandemic hit, and that's okay. A lot of people have gone back. I have not. So this will be my first event back out into the public, and I'm very excited about it, but I had to stop and think, where are all my tools that I need for that? And it's like, I had to remember, do I have enough bookmarks? Do I have enough stickers? Do I have enough coloring pages? Do I have enough books? Where are my book stands? Where are my tablecloths and my banners and things of this nature? So I want to remind you, when you're setting up for these events, there are two things to remember. Make sure you're not scheduling events around other things happening, because trying to prepare for an event and preparing for other things that you would do as an author and writer are kind of in conflict with each other. They kind of require a different mindset. When you're dealing with the public directly is a little bit different than being on a podcast and doing an interview, or being online and doing a school visit or something of this nature, or speaking in public. It's a little bit different. You never know what's going to happen, so you have to be prepared. Make sure that you go with your phone. Make sure you go with the Square app or something to be able to take payments. Be able to take payments manually if for some reason you cannot get a signal for internet. This is why I say do it on your phone. Also, I have an iPad that's connected to cell service that I use just for that eventuality, because what I find a lot of times when I go to these events, especially the bigger events, so many people are trying to use the internet or the Wi-Fi service at the same time that it usually just sits there and you get the spinning wheel of death. So make sure you have an alternate plan. Make sure that you do take change, because people still do pay by cash. So make sure you have change. Make sure that you're pricing your items at even dollar amounts. Now, if that is going to include the tax, then you might want to go ahead and figure out what the tax on that would be and round it up to an even number, because the worst thing is to run out of pennies or quarters or dimes or nickels. I've done a lot of events. Trust me, it happens. And everybody's scrambling through their pockets looking for pennies and quarters and nickels. So try and do yourself a favor and round off those numbers. I know that a lot of the booksellers like the 99 cent. I'm like, if you're going to sell it for your retail price, just round it up that penny and make it easy on everyone. So, another thing is to make sure that you have plenty of things with your name and information on it. QR codes are amazing. If you're not ready to jump over to a QR code, then think about a Linktree link or something of this nature, where it's just one link that you can give them and gives them all the information that they may need about your website, about buying your books, or contacting you, or following you on social media. So these are great things to have. Think about those in time when you're doing your handout things. And I'm talking about like bookmarks, flyers, sell sheets, coloring pages. Make sure you include that on there. And also be prepared with pens, because a lot of times people are wanting you to sign your books. Signing books is great. I love it. Do yourself a favor, take some sticky notes. Let the parent or the person write their name for you, because the worst thing you can do is start writing their name and it's completely wrong. have them write their name for you clearly so that you can do that. And also, I like to have a prepared list of inscriptions that I use. A lot of them are quotes from my books, from the characters in my books, but also some other positive notes that I have. And I print those out on a clipboard so that if I can't think of anything in that very moment when I'm signing a book, I have a list of things that I can use as an inscription. Be prepared. Also, don't forget to take maybe a clipboard if it's approved by whoever is holding the event. Now, some events will not allow this, so do check. But if they do allow it, take a clipboard and ask people to give you their information to sign up for a drawing or a giveaway, or to sign up for your newsletter or something of that nature. It is a great way to garner more information for your email list that we all know we need to use. So I want you to think about those things. And, you know, if you guys are running on deadline like I am and you're trying to get things printed up to the last minute, I'm going to mention, now I am not sponsored by them and I am not an affiliate for them, but they are just one of the places that I think are really good about getting information to you quickly, especially with printing. And it includes banners and cards and flyers, and pretty much anything that you could want done is nextdayflyers.com. So, you know, if you're running short on time, they usually can get stuff to you the next day if you need it. Now, you may pay a pretty price for it. Otherwise, their prices are really reasonable. So do check that out. I hope that is a good kind of primer for you guys on going out for those events. Like I said, I had to kind of refresh myself on all of these steps going out for my next event. And of course, if you're in the Sacramento, Rio Linda area, please stop by on Saturday the 17th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time and come and see me. I would love to meet all of you. So let's go ahead and get on with our show. Of course, we have Rosalind Severin McClean with us. And again, I said we're going to be talking to her about her two books, Oceans of Thought. She is an author, poet, and performer. Rosalind Severin McClean.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi, Donna.
You want to hold up your books for us, please? So Rosalind Severin McClean has been known for her profound and most inspiring writing style. Her impressive work in poetry has claimed excellent reviews from her many audiences, both local and international. Not only has she participated in open mic events and written editions in newspaper articles to showcase her work, but she is also an exemplary performer in the arts, dance, and culture. Her natural gifts as an author was recognized from childhood, but now as a senior, she has decided to publish her Oceans of Thoughts series. She was born in the Commonwealth of Dominica, but she now lives with her daughter in Queens, New York. Welcome to the Writer's Parachute. Rosalind, how are you today?
I'm good, Donna. Thank you so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you today. I appreciate this very much.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I've been looking forward to our interview, mostly because I interview a lot of authors, but I don't get a lot of poets. I think I've had one other poet before, and yours is a little bit different from hers in that yours are more what I would call sort of a memoir in prose. It follows kind of your life and the things that you've been through, and you're writing in these oceans of thoughts. I love. So, I mean, you have an interesting background to share about the first two books. So I wanted to know why it was important to document your life and thoughts in these two books.
Okay, thank you so much for this question. I will put it like this. I write, I should say, on sort of an inspirational level. It's like the book is shown to me through the spirit. So therefore, it's like this kind of work chose me. I didn't choose to do it. You know, I write my life experiences through that style. I have tried to do it the novel style. It didn't click. And I feel that I have been through certain events, certain things have happened in my life. And I know that through my work, it touches the reader. And a lot of people get transformed, a lot of people, it sits within them.
Mm-hmm.
So my work speaks to them.
Right.
And that's just about it. It's like I was chosen to do this, if I could say it that way.
Right.
You know?
Well, and I would have to agree with you. In fact, in your first book, you describe it as an inspirational walk through the inner self, life, and history. And inside it, you had a poem that really kind of spoke to me, and it honestly made me cry. but it was a cathartic crying, and I really enjoyed it. It's called She's My Sister Too. Can you kind of share with us what your inspiration or the events for this emotional poem were?
Yes, sure, most definitely. It's about my sister Yvonne, who passed away in 2016. No, 2017. I had visited her in 2016, and she passed a few months later, the next year. This particular poem, it's like the events that were happening around the time she was passing. I felt that I was being left out of a lot of things that was going on. And it's like my older sister was the one who I was communicating with at the time. And I was like being thrown aside of what was going on with her, mm-hmm. Not getting clear information. Mm-hmm. I was told that she was very ill, going down, but I just was not. I'm here in New York, and they're over there in the West Indies, in Dominica, and not being there to see what's going on. It's like anxiety is kicking in, trying to figure out what to do, and not getting complete information. There was a time that I was trying to book the flight for my daughter and I to go home, but I was kept back. Wait. I kept just wait, do not come now, wait, just wait. And this was going on for the time that she was going through her transition, it's getting lower and lower. And I not knowing what to do. Now, the tickets are expensive, and I had just gone down there a few months before. So I had to find another ticket, 2 other tickets to go back. Mm-hmm. And it was like didn't know what to do, actually. So here I am in the middle of limbo. Mm-hmm. And that, kept on until she passed. And then too, if you notice in that poem, I kept saying she could hear, tell her. I was telling my older sister, let her know I'm trying to call her. Mm-hmm. It's not even that I was able to do. I could not reach her. I could not call her. I was calling different numbers. No one wanted me to speak to her. It's like as if I would talk to her, it would be worse. And I know that she was looking for me to call or to be there. Mm-hmm. She knowing that I'm away, I wanted to be there somehow, whether it's on the phone. I said, let her see my picture. Tell her I'm calling. And that was so hard for them to understand. And I kept at it. Tell her I'm calling. And eventually, when my older sister told her that I called, she was staring because she heard my name. Mm-hmm. And I said, yes, because she heard my name. She's looking for me. She heard my name. Right. But I was up here and she's over there. So that's basically why I wrote this. It was like, I had to write it because no one could really understand what was going on. And right. I felt like I was just being tied, pulling on a string and being tied and not able to be there or to get, the inspiration was so tight, and then she passed away, and at least she knew that I was calling. I was asking my sister to tell her she can hear. That's the last thing that goes is the hearing. And that's just how it went. And this is why I wrote this. I had to explain myself. I had to let them know that I was trying to be there somehow or the other, and it just didn't happen that I was there. But I was there on the phone. I was there in spirit. I was there other ways, but not physically there with her at the time. So, and she was very close to me. We were very close sisters. I mean, we lived away, but growing up, she was the sister who was closest to me. So that really hit in a way that it's like it just shattered everything. Just the whole experience was very shattering.
Yes.
Yeah. So then I
and
had
I think
to put
maybe that's why it spoke to me. I had a similar situation when my mother became ill. Now she wasn't young, but still she was my mother, and I was very close to her. But you know, we live 1,800 miles away. Now that may not seem like a lot compared to you and your sister, but it's still a distance. It's still a distance, and it's not always easy to get there in a hurry. And my mother had fallen ill, and she was also battling dementia. So she did not recognize my voice when I would call. And in fact, you know, kind of broke my heart. She thought I was a telemarketer, and she would hang up on me. And she's like, no, I don't want it, and just hang up. And it was really heartbreaking to me, because we knew that, you know, that she was likely towards the end of her life. And, you know, I felt frustrated, as same as you know, asking them, it's like, please, you know, tell her I'm calling, please, you know, call me when you're there so you can tell me it's me calling so I can talk to her. And it just didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Yes.
And it breaks your heart, because you're trying so hard to be there in that moment. And it just feels like every obstacle in the world just jumped in front of you to keep
everything
from being there. And so I think that's probably why this emotional poem spoke so deeply to me, because I did feel your pain, and it resonated with me for what I went through. Now it's been several years, but it's still something that's deep in you, and
it doesn't go away.
Yeah, and they say the hardest thing to get beyond is regret, and that's what it feels like. It feels like, did I try hard enough? Did I really put as much effort into it as I should? And I know the answer is yes, but some small part of your brain questions whether it is actually yes. So I do understand, and I appreciate you sharing that poem with us, hearing your first book. And I have to say that, you know, for nothing else, I would say go buy the book just for that poem. It's amazingly well written, and it's a very heart-wrenching and true and honest.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
You're very welcome. And you know, and also in your second book, I actually loved it as well. It's you list that one as a wave of smooth intensity, captivating energy, and a history of movement of a musical decade.
Yes.
There was another poem inside that one that really caught my attention, and it's called The Silent Bully. I loved the ending. You added a Proverbs to the end of that poem, which just kind of, I felt like it was such a great poem up to that point, but those Proverbs at the end was just like, you know, the extra decorative icing on that perfect cake. And I love that. So can you share why this particular poem, and I don't want to give away too much about it, because I really want them to go read it, because I think it's one of those poems that, you know, you can hear somebody else reading it, but till you read it yourself, you can't get that emotion that poem brings across. So can you share with us why this one was important to add to the second book? Because it kind of caught me off guard when I read it.
Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah. The Silent Bully is, let's put it this way. This is the most difficult form of bullying to detect. Cannot be detected, because when there's a silent bully, that silent bully often lies, don't talk the truth. So you would catch, it's like mischief. It's very mischievous form of bullying. It's very silent. It happens everywhere. It happens in offices, in schools, within families. It happens everywhere. And people, there was a time, or there are times when you might want to just brush it off because, but actually it's not something to be brushed off. It's something to be addressed, but it's very difficult to detect it. And when you call into a meeting and you catch the person doing this mischief, they often say it's not true. Oh no, that's not true. You made it up. And then they will keep on doing that same form of bullying because they are not caught. When they are caught, it's a different story. But very often, they're not caught.
Right.
It happened to me. It happened to my daughter. It happened to many people that I know. And the last time, it was like, I just had to write. And it's like when things like that happen, I speak through my work, through my writing. You know, I can't, you know, we're not authorities, we're not any of these things, but when I write it, it's like it releases. When I write, I release whatever energy that I feel, the frequencies just keep moving with it. And it's like so authentic, especially this poem. It happened and I just wrote it. And everybody was like, yes, I wrote it, I said. And I have not even had a book yet. I was just writing, doing my work, writing and storing it, saving, writing and saving. I had no book, no intentions of a book. It's just, I was just writing and I just kept writing anything that come to me, anything I'd get in dreams, anything, any inspiration that will fall from the chosen, the above, I would just write. And this one, when the inspiration came for this silent bullying, I just wrote it. I just wrote. And I'm very much in tune with Proverbs and different parts of the Bible and different other spiritual books that I just knew where to go for the hooks because I'm very much in tune with it. Yeah.
Well, and you know what really surprised me is, you know, I'm pretty well versed in what's going on with people around the world. I do try to be intuitive about what is happening. But I think the thing that struck me the most was that you gave adults permission to recognize that they are being bullied as adults.
That's right.
We tend to think that bullying is something that happens to children and teenagers and people who are very susceptible to negative comments. But you brought home the fact that we're all subjected to bullying for different purposes and different reasons. And because we as adults don't call it out, we're actually kind of perpetuating the system that allows the bullying to happen. And I just was like, when I read that, I just kind of like stopped and go, oh my goodness, this is absolutely true. It's like we all need to read this poem. I think it needs to be plastered on the walls everywhere we go, because that is the thing that struck me the hardest, was that you are telling us all as adults, no matter your age, no matter who you are, that we're all subjected to this and that we need to recognize it and call it out. And only then can we truly say we're trying to stop bullying, because if we allow it to happen to ourselves, then it's really hard to have any kind of license in saying that we're stopping it, or when it happens to someone else that we love, because we're allowing it to happen to ourselves. So I do appreciate that, and thank you for that. And if for no other reason, go buy her second book, Oceans of Thoughts, just for the poem The Silent Bully. I really think that it's an amazing, thought-provoking poem, and I really enjoyed it. And again, it didn't make me cry, but it definitely made me stop and think, which is always, I know, kind of your second go-to. It's like, if the emotions don't go, then let's engage the brain. So you're doing an excellent job there. So in both of your books, especially in your second book, you are quoting both Beethoven and Plato, which I just loved. I mean, it's just like, it was so unexpected, but it was so right on the money with the kind of, prose and poetry story that you're telling in your book. And the quotes that you use is "Music can change the world" by Beethoven, and "Music saves a soul, or gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything." That was by Plato. I want to know why these two particular quotes spoke to you and your writing of the second book, because they kind of surprised me.
Okay. Well, book two, I had a focus on music. I focused, besides the other poetry, I had a series on music because I played in a band. So I was channeling, to get it smoothly into the band, into that series of poetry. Right. So I played music. I played piano for many years. I started at about 7 years old, and I played all the way till I was 23. Taking piano lessons until I left Dominica and came to the States. So I know about Beethoven and all the different, you know, the different musicians. I know because I played their music, I played, you know, and I just had to find something to link the band, you know, into the book. I had written the band, I wrote the series of the band since 2012, I believe it's in the book. And I knew I had to place it in, but I always try to have a smooth transition. And music does speak to the world. Poetry is actually song and music. You know, you just in poetry or prose or whatever it's called, they're reciting it. Music, you sing it or you play it to get a tune, a melody. If you take out the melody and the tune, it's poetry or prose or, you know. So I linked it because I know it's all part of the frequency, it's all part of the sequence. Okay. Now, as for what I chose, I don't even know. It just came. That's it. You know, I sometimes I see a word or something in meditation, and I go looking, and then I say, that's it. But then I don't even pay too much attention as to, you know, in researching. I just know when I see that's it. 2 words and I know that's it. You know, yeah, it comes, it just comes. It's kind of unexplainable how I channel in those this work. Because I can't even understand it sometimes. Just my daughter says, "Oh, mommy, you write something in less than no time." I don't know, because it just comes. Sometimes nothing comes, and sometimes it just comes, and I just go with it.
Right.
You know?
Which is always the best thing. And sometimes it, you know, it's like my job sometimes is kind of against what I do as a writer, because we know as a writer, you know, inspiration just falls sometimes in your lap. Yes. Things just, you know, you just hear a quote that you maybe heard 1,000 times, but in that moment it spoke to you. So it's like, I don't want to take away some of the magical sauce that's behind it, but you know, but I really did think that when I was reading through your second book, that these 2 quotes really just kind of encapsulated the book, and it was, they were kind of magical in getting you into that mode for what was between the pages. So I wanted to know what, but you know, sometimes, like I said, it just falls out of the air.
It just came. It just came, and I used it. You know, it was just perfect at the time for what I wanted. I was writing on the band, which is, it's very important to me, very passionate to me, the band, the experience of the Missing Dimensions band. So it just linked in perfectly.
You know, well, it definitely did that. So, you know, both of your books are very thought-provoking and honest. And that's really hard to do. I have to tell you, it's like when they say that some writers open up a vein and bleed, they truly do. And I really felt that we were seeing not only your soul and spirit, but your heart come through in these books. So I want to know, what was the inspiration behind the Evocative books?
Good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I will tell you this. In my life growing up as a child and going through adulthood and normalcy, you know, I have been through a roller coaster of emotions and feelings, you know. So with that said, and knowing that I've been writing, every time, whenever I feel something, I'll just write it down. You know, and I do a lot of meditation. Or I used to do a lot more, and I get a lot of, you know, visualize stuff. So, yeah, you know, sometimes you feel that you're not treated right, and yeah, and no matter what you do and how you do it, it's not good enough. Yeah. So been there, done that. You understand? And this are like a lot of times, well, most of the time, in my writing, I project that. And that seems to touch many, many people, because they seem to have, they can identify with what I write. You know, at least someone is telling it. What they were afraid to talk about, it's here. What I, as a child or a young adult, was afraid to talk about, it's here. It's like, no, you can't stop me. No, I can write it. No, people are going to listen. What you didn't want to listen to, they're going to listen. No, it's been read. No, I have a voice. And that's basically, and the inspiration is just flowing. It's like the Lord or the universe or the higher power just chose me to do this. Sometimes I don't even realize it, but it's that's the way it's happening. Wow. You know, and I say, well, I was chosen for this.
I would say that is probably very true, and probably a great explanation for those people who are trying to capture that it. And it is just you being you.
You being me, yeah.
Speaking and leaning into your own voice and making it unapologetically you. So that's right. I do appreciate that. Your books have a very lyrical quality to them that invokes a movement. And I wanted to know, what tips would you offer to other authors to add movement to their writing? Because this is something, as an editor, that I see, especially they talk about the saggy middle when you're writing books and stuff like that you don't have that lyrical quality, you don't have that movement going on, which is where, you know, a lot of these books fail. So how would you suggest that they add
that? With writing, from my experience, I think I will talk about my experience. Maybe those who are listening might catch on. There is a lot of silence in writing. I don't know if other people have that, but there's a lot of silence in writing. You can't, for me, well, I get more of my inspiration like 2 in the morning, after 1 o'clock. I could sit at the computer and just keep going. I know I have to work, so I have to sleep. So then I get up but there is a lot through silence in the mind, if that's explaining some explanation. No. So therefore, you can, if they're in tune, if one is in tune to that silence, they can pick up any frequency. They can pick it up. They can pick up the lyrical aspect of what they want to do, you know, and they can pick up the melody of it. Because in the books, there are a lot of melodies. It's just that I'm not playing it. But when you think of it, there's a lot of songs, There can be a lot of song to what I've written. So I just feel that writers out there, I mean, everybody's writing novels and everybody's writing children's books and everybody's writing all kind of books. But are they just writing the books or writing the book, or is there a silence in their writing? I don't know. I just, that's my experience. So I don't know if it relates to other people, but, you know, because in those books, and I have a book 3 coming up, and there'll be a book 4, God willing. This is how I do it. I don't know. I don't have an explanation.
Right.
I really don't.
Well, I know you say you don't have an explanation, but I did love your explanation, and you're absolutely right. It's like sometimes I feel that we're forcing ourselves to follow a pattern, and we're so afraid to test the railings, or, you know, push against the guidelines that other people have set for us. And I think this is where we kind of lose that lyrical movement quality to our writing, is we're listening to everyone else instead of what is inside of us. So I do think that you had an excellent explanation of that. And yeah, it happens in those quiet moments when you're ready to listen to yourself and not everyone else. So I think you did have an excellent suggestion for us here, even if you didn't think so, but I think it was great. So we're going to go ahead and shift gears for just a little bit and talk, although I loved your books, we want to talk about your experience as an author and a writer here. Now, we know that most of them experience some kind of obstacle or challenge when they're writing and publishing their books. So we want to know what obstacles or challenges you ran into, and what do you think you learned from them?
With the obstacles that I ran into is knowing how to set the book and publish it. Mm-hmm. I had absolutely no idea how to do this. I knew how to write. I've been doing it from a very long time. So I had all this work saved on cassette tapes. Those are the days of cassette recordings in the computer. But as far as putting it in a book, I was blank. Because my daughter is the one who told me, Mommy, write a book. You know what to do. You have all this work, try and do a book. Mm-hmm. And my sister who passed used to tell me that I should have a book. I should have a few books. Mm-hmm. So I had to do some research on that. I got on the computer and I started looking for someone who knew about publishing and how to put it in a book. It's not about publishing, mm-hmm. how to put it in the book firstly.
Right.
Because I couldn't publish it out the books. I had no idea about categories, about nothing. I didn't know anything about that. And I found someone, Donat Mitchell. I found him online, mm-hmm. never met him. I saw he popped up on the screen and my daughter said, take a chance, let's try him. Mm-hmm. I was like, very skeptical because, I don't know this person at all and I have no idea, nobody heard of him. Mm-hmm. And I just decided to try him.
Right.
And that's what I did. And 3 months later, I had the bestseller on book one. I just took a course. I took the course. People were trying to tell me what to do, what not to do this, do that, do this, do that. And remember, I mentioned to you in the silence. Mm-hmm. In the silence, it wasn't telling me to do this, do that, just telling me to take a course. But everybody else was saying, no, you don't need this, don't need that, you can just do it, Mm-hmm. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to sign up with this guy. And thank God I did, because he taught me everything I needed to know about listening the book, the template and all this stuff. I had no idea about the template. I had no idea about anything at all. And he instructed me. I took his course and he instructed me and the people on his team how to do this work. And even the guidance to self-publish, the whole 9 yards. Mm-hmm. I learned it through the course. And now I had book one in 3-4 months. I had book two within the year. I published them one after the other. Mm-hmm. And then I decided, let me take a break before I do book 3.
There you go.
Because I have the work already. I don't have to go searching for material. I already have it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this is what happened.
Well, see, I do love your answer here, and I'll explain why. A lot of people ask me why I call my podcast The Writer's Parachute. And those that know me and have been one of my clients or are writing students or something, they know that I'm constantly saying the only reason I know what I know is because I'm so willing to go jump off that cliff and build a parachute on the way down, which is why we call it The Writer's Parachute. For those of you who are interested, that's why we call it that. And I love your answer because you were doing what was right for you on your journey. Mm-hmm. And you were willing to go jump off of that cliff if that was what was necessary to get you to where you needed to be. And I think sometimes we're often afraid to discount some of the most helpful information because it isn't right for you or your journey. And if I give no other lesson in doing what I do, it's that you have to be true to yourself, because if you're just listening and following somebody else's journey, then you're not going to be satisfied and you're not going to be happy, and you're going to find frustration as a constant companion. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you too.
All right. So we want to know what 3 things you wish you had known or wish somebody had told you before you published or wrote your book.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. To tell you the truth, there are so many things that I wish I knew before, but life is a learning process. And I believe these things happen for a reason. I find there were a lot of jealousies around, and I don't know why people would be jealous of something that they have absolutely no idea the effort and the amount of work that goes into it. But they see a project being done, and you get this principalities darting at you. This is what the only thing, and you feel these things darting, and you wonder why. Why is this happening? You sort of friendships and even relationships and even sisterships and all the ships, they start drifting away, and you wonder, what did you do? That everything, So I sometimes I put it, since I published the first book and the second books, I felt a lot of stuff happening, and I just realized, and the principalities decided darting, you have to be strong to withstand it. It breaks you down emotionally sometimes because we're all human,
right.
But then life is a learning process.
It is.
And I can't let these things stop me from trying to put out some good quality work. I say good quality work because everyone so far, my work seems to touch them in a positive way. And I believe that's why I was chosen to do this. Many people have gone to schools and gone everywhere to learn to write, but I don't see them writing like me. They write their own way. I write what was thrown to me. It was like it was chosen for me to do this, So yeah, so a lot of times when you're on that path, you find the principalities and the negativities and those dots, they come quickly. They put the story off balance, And that is the only thing I could say, I would think that if I had known that but you're not supposed to know it. One is not supposed to know that these things, because these things are set by, I guess, the creator or whoever sets it. It was to test us, to see how much we could take, how far we could go, and what we're about. Whether we're going to crumble under this pressure or we're going to prosper. And that's why too I try to keep the holy books, Bible, the Upanishads, whatever book that could give me inspiration to keep me grounded. Although, hey, I'm human, so it's not, no.
Yeah, well, I think we're all human, and I think that is perfectly well said, because we often hold ourselves to such a high standard that we would never hold even our worst enemy to. We speak to ourselves in much more negative words than we would ever speak to our worst enemy. And again, we compete with ourselves, which is why we feel that sense of, when we see somebody else succeeding, instead of celebrating with them, we question why them and not me.
Yes.
And and I often find that that's the wrong answer. It's like we should be working together to help each other rather than worrying about what someone else is doing, because you could never know what their journey is. You don't know what they went through to get to this point in their life. It may be much different than yours, and you don't know how many years that they struggled before they got to this point. It's really hard to know that. And I used to be a reading specialist as a teacher, and what I do know is that you never go into a library or into any business or any home that has a bookshelf and find only one kind of book or one author or one genre of reading. It is usually a plethora of information, because people, what they read today may not be what they want to read tomorrow. It's why there's thousands of television channels available now, so people can have so much choice. And we have to look at our books and our writing in that same manner. It's not about us competing with each other. We're just competing on that shelf.
Exactly.
And I think this is kind of one of the hardest lessons for new authors to understand, that it isn't about who is doing what, because again, I always say this, it is a marathon. It is not a sprint. If you don't get that award this year, there's always next year. If you don't get that event this year, there's always next year. If you don't achieve that, there's always next month, next week, whatever. There's more coming. You're not in a foot race to get to the finish line.
Exactly. It's not a competition.
Exactly.
It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. It is about provoking thought. Whether you're writing for children or you're writing theology or poetry or songs or whatever, it is about provoking thought and emotion. And I think that sometimes we lose sight of that. But I do thank you for sharing that with us. So I'm going to ask you an interesting question. I always get really great answers here. So if you could speak to your younger self today, what advice do you think you would offer?
One thing that I know that things happen to us for growth, okay? And a lot of things happen because of the plan, the higher plan. But one of the things I may want to say is I wish I knew about meditation as a young child. And I think that's like the core, the stem of the growth. So as a child, we did not have that, on the island. I started meditation, I was about 17, teenager. And even then at the time, it was kind of prohibited at my home. It was just like, oh, you're going to church, you're Catholic, you're this, you're that, you cannot be doing this, because no one really knew at that time coming into the island. There was no explanation, no one was familiar with what it does and stuff. So that's about the only thing I would say, that I wish I knew how to meditate as a child, then I would have more meditation. But then again, who is to say? The Lord plans your life, whether people call him Lord, whatever they want to call him, Allah, or whatever you want to call it, higher force. Your life is planned that way. So even though you feel like you got a rotten end of the stick, or you did not get the golden spoon, or whatever it is, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. First to learn through it, because I've been through, it has not been easy.
Well, my mother, I think, as I get older, I've come to learn that she was a lot wiser than I really recognized during her lifetime. And she would tell me, she's like, there are usually two reasons why you have difficulties in your life. And this is not, this is not theology and this is not science or anything. This is just my mother's explanation. And she would say there's two reasons for problems in your life. Number one, you didn't pay attention the first time the problem came around and fixed whatever was causing it, or you didn't learn what you needed to learn from that lesson. So, figure out what it is you're missing in this thing that keeps happening to you, because I guarantee you there's some reason it keeps coming up and you haven't learned what you need to learn. And I think she's right. I think that, when we kind of ignore problems, or we ignore difficulties, or we just go, I don't have time for this. It's like, well, life forces you to make time for the difficult things. And so, you have to pay attention. You have to, get on with life, and it doesn't always come easy. So, but there's quality in learning that.
Yes.
Learning that value that life doesn't come easy. So maybe it makes you enjoy those easy moments a little more. So, I really think that you've connected with something that I wish I had known as a younger child. And I think the one thing that I think resonates through most of my guests when they answer this question is they wish they had been more. They had been more willing to step outside, more willing to try new things, more willing to listen to other voices. It's like I often here and in my grand imagination, which is unending, you know, I could just sort of see them as children being timid and afraid. And I think we have a lot of that in us as we grow older. Is think that child becomes even more timid and afraid. And I think personally, you know, we should just go, you know what? If you mess up, so what?
Yeah. The thing is that we are not taught as children, most people, unless you're from that, you know, part of the world, you know, we're not taught as children to sit quiet and meditate, even if it's 50 minutes or 20 minutes. You know, the children run around and, you know, do what they're doing as children. You know, they throw temper tantrums and this thing. But there's no quality of meditation at all in the West. Not at home and not here either. And I think that is missing. That definitely is missing in growing up of children.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's missing. I mean,
well, I would agree with you, because we live in a world that is instant gratification and instant satisfaction, and you can pretty much get anything with a phone call or a click or whatever. Exactly. It's like we don't give ourselves this, what you were speaking about, you know, to get that thought-provoking movement and lyricalness is in those quiet moments when we let our actual brain work through the problem, instead of, you know, going to Google and it's like, give me the answer right now.
Exactly.
We need to exercise that brain part of us and get it going and thinking through the problem. So I agree with you. That's that's an amazing advice. So yeah, I you know, it's like I never know what I'm going to say to my younger self, and it depends on my day, because I never know what lesson is going to be up for me that day.
Yes.
You know, it's like I'm sometimes a little bit stubborn, so sometimes I get to repeat those lessons several times until I get it through my head that, yeah, really, this is not doing me any favors. All right, so I want to know, what insight would you share with us for any writers or authors we have out there that would like to be upcoming poets, prose writers, or lyrical writers, as inspiration for them, because I think you would be a very inspiring person to them.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Yes. What I would like to share. As I had mentioned previously, that I think there's a lot in silence. So I think that's a good, I don't know if a lot of people do whatever they want, but for me, as an author now, even before I had the books, that's where I channel a lot of my energies. You want to channel the frequencies. You want the universe to work for you, to speak to you. It's not going to speak to you in the noise. The universe will speak to you in the silence. That's the only time it speaks, in the silence. Yeah, you'll get it in the noise too, but you get it distorted. So, and another thing, maybe people could take notes, walk around with a notebook. Everybody uses a phone now. I use pen and paper, pencil and paper, the old folk way, And well, right now I don't really walk around writing because I have conditioned my mind. I keep it there, and when I start writing, like, it all comes back, But as a beginner writer, and from the other people, they can at least take their notes, and don't always listen to people. Listen to yourself. Do your own research of the mind for yourself. People will tell you, yeah, but then what about you telling yourself? Okay, right. So that's something that I have seen work for me, because whatever I write here, no one is telling me. No one showed me how to write this. No one told me what to write. There's no one responsible for this but the Lord. You alone, or whatever higher energy, is responsible for the 2 books. Right. I couldn't do it on my own. Right. It had to come from somewhere. But I know it's not for me. There's channels through me, So that's why I say you listen to the silence. So see where you're going with what you want to write. Don't just write because you're writing, and then you're wondering, you have gibberish. No, you try to focus, and especially if you're a new writer, I guess everybody, and just try to focus and channel in your energies so you could put some work forward. Take notes, take your own notes, and listen to songs. Yeah. Songs and melodies, to me, are the best frequencies that we could identify with. The melodies, the songs of the wind, the sound of the trees, the birds are tweeting, the song of the birds. In a silent night, you hear the crickets, and you say, oh, you hear the wind. You can listen to the wind. They say wind has sound. Mm-hmm. The breeze, the light breeze that's passing, it has sound. You just have to be still enough to capture that sound.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. And one of the things that I think people forget with writing, especially as you brought up with poetry, prose, and songs, is it's meant to be heard.
Yes.
How can you know if it's meant or ready to be heard if you don't read it out loud?
Exactly. You got to practice and practice.
Hear those words.
Yes, you have to read it to yourself. You got to edit it yourself. For me, I have an editor, yes. Mm-hmm. When I get ready to do the book, yes, you send it to the editor, you send it here, you send it there. But the journey, I have to edit it myself. Yes. You read it to yourself. I say, the way I look at it, you're writing not for you. You're writing for the reader. Mm-hmm. The reader has to understand and identify with what you're writing. A lot of people are writing for themselves, or they make a song for themselves. No, you want to write, you write in mind, you're writing to touch the reader, whoever the reader is in the world. Right. That's the only way. For me, that's the only way. So when I did book one, I was like, wow, is it going to work? But I had this work for so long, it had to work. Because I wrote it and I edited and I kept editing and editing and editing until it was ready to go. And I wrote it for the reader. So I wrote it for you. I say, okay, Donna is going to pick up the book. When Donna picks up the book, I wanted to speak to her. So I'm writing for you.
Yes.
For whoever picks up the book. And that, I think, is the trick for me, for writing. Right. As I said already, there is no school or no professor that could teach me this. No, I'm sorry. I didn't learn it nowhere. I didn't learn it anywhere.
And I agree with you. And it's like, I feel like we're on the same wavelength with this because, again, it's meant to be heard by other people. It's like I tell people, it's like the reason we write is not so that we can, look at our writing and go, oh, that's amazing. We write to communicate with other people. Exactly. It's about communication, which, again, at its very base, writing in any genre or any, whether you're writing prose or you're writing a speech or anything, any kind of writing is about communicating your thoughts and your ideas into that audience.
Yes,
communicating what it is that you think or feel or want them to know directly. And I think sometimes it gets lost in all of the noise, but I am glad that you brought that up. So I wanted to know, so you also host a YouTube channel podcast called Oceans of Thoughts after the title of your book. And we want to know where we are going to be linking everyone to it in the show notes, but we want to know if you could tell us a little bit about the focus of that channel.
My daughter actually is the one who put it together because they know all this technical stuff.
Right.
Yes. I had the YouTube so I could post or upload. I think that's the correct words. She always told me, you don't post, you upload. I could upload videos and different interviews I've had, so other people who did not hear it at the time could listen and identify. I have videos when I travel to Dominica, the oceans, I have that there. And I just wanted to be able to read some of my poetry and have it there so other people can listen. And like it's not lost. At least it won't be lost. It will be on something concrete enough, you know. And this is the reason I wanted to have YouTube channel, you know, done, so I could put my work there. I could read my poetry and put it there. You know, it's about myself. It's not about any, you know. So when I'm writing, I write about things that happening with me that other people can identify with, and they can listen to it, they can learn from it, you know, they can identify with it, you know. So I try to, that's what I'm trying to do, to put as many you know, of my interviews and readings, you know, and videos on there as possible. It's just to get the people to benefit the people.
Right.
You know, benefiting them, because some people send me a message. They find me, people I don't even know. They find me on the messenger and they put a note. Oh, they read this and what it did to them and how they liked it. And so, yeah, that's.
You're doing a great job. And I would say that for any of the aspiring writers or authors that we have out there that are wanting to connect with somebody that is very, very lyrical, very well versed in writing prose and poetry, I would say go check out her channel over on YouTube and listen to the way that she approaches her craft, because she is definitely a very well versed in bringing forth the emotions and invoking that connection with her audience. So I think that she's offering you guys a free masterclass in poetry. So go take advantage of it.
Yes, and I think please subscribe to the YouTube. So, you know, when they get on there, you know, subscribe to it. So it gives me encouragement when I see people are actually, you know, I know people are listening and people are viewing it, but as far as they subscribing, you know, some do, some don't. You know how that goes. But I would like that they subscribe to the YouTube. That makes me, you know, give them a little bit of encouragement too. You know, because we're all human, we need a little encouragement sometimes, even though you know you do it, but at least you say, but at least they appreciate it. Right. It shows me that people appreciate the work, you know? Yeah.
All I'm going to say on that is if, as I said, again, if you are an aspiring poet or you have any interest in that, I would say, you know, take advantage of her YouTube channel and go ask your questions. I think you'll probably be fascinated with her amazing, well thought out answers. So again, as I said, she's offering a free masterclass in how to approach writing and poetry and prose in particular. So we want to thank you for that. So what's next for Rosalind?
What's next for Rosalind? Well, I have book 3 coming up shortly. I should have put it out already, but I sort of took a break. And figure that it will probably go to the end of the year, beginning of next year. So that I'm working on. I also have been participating in book events and expos. So, you know, I just did one last weekend, you know, called Carry Brunch. It was in Brooklyn, New York, where all, you know, different vendors from Dominica, my country, you know, able to share their products and sell their books and different products. So that was very well attended, and it was very nice to be there and be part of it, part of that event. I was able to sell quite a few books and explain and talk about my books and talk about the event. So yeah, so this is what I you know, that's what's next. Besides that, you know, while I dance, so I may have an event coming up for dance. That probably is in November. So there are different avenues that I am getting involved in, you know, but I have the books. I have the series, Ocean of Thoughts series, first and foremost, that needs to get done.
So can you share with us what the focus of this 3rd book is going to be?
I'll give you a little peep. I don't want to say too much, but a little peep. I'm focusing on sports. I do, on sports. That's one of the series. There's a couple of series in there. When I say series, you know, I write and I have to finish what I'm trying to say. So I do it like 3-4 different poems for one category. So I'm going to focus. I'm focusing a lot on sports in Dominica at the time, but it's not only sports in Dominica. It's like sports. Let's say sports. I'm talking about soccer back in the 1960s because I'm going way back. I'm going back in the memory, back in the good memories of the 60s and the 70s, and I'm talking about sports, the sports journey, at that time. And I think a lot of it has been forgotten. People forget when things, because they're in a new decade, they're in a new space, and they forget what happens. No, I don't forget. Maybe that's why I'm writing, because I don't forget. So
well,
I have.
We are definitely glad that you are, and we look forward to this third book coming out, and we'll have to have you back when it's out so we can talk about it and what's going on with you. So you did say that you're probably going to have an event coming up in November. So is there anything else on the horizon for you as far as events?
Well, there are a couple, that I'm looking at. I'm looking at an event in Atlanta. I'm hoping I can get there, another book event, sometime in October. I'm not sure of it, but that's been spoken about.
Well,
so there are a couple of things happening.
Okay, so if we want to get updated on actual dates and locations, that we would find that on your website, is that correct?
Yes, on my website. I definitely will be posting it at the time, what's happening. And I definitely post it because there are quite a few things that are coming up, but there's no real dates. And, it's there, people are talking about it. And I'm interested in doing everything. As a matter of fact, I have one on the 21st in Queens. It's a book event. Yes, it's a book event, a Queen's book event. And I've already paid for my table to participate. It's like an open mic. Yeah, so I will be doing both books there. And actually quite excited to participate in that. And that's in October the 21st. So I'm looking forward to that too. So there are quite a few things happening, and around Oceans of Thoughts.
Right.
And,
Well, we're glad. And of course, we always will have in the show notes for you the direct links to her website and other links for you. So where can they find your books?
My books are available on Amazon.
Okay.
Both books are on Amazon. They're both in Kindle and paperback.
Okay.
So definitely, I would like everyone to go to Amazon and purchase my book.
Okay.
And so that's basically where they are at the moment for internationally. It's on Amazon. I also have the YouTube channel. I also have Facebook, and you can see some of my book on Facebook. But I shouldn't say some of my book on Facebook. I sort of held back because I'm producing the books. So at least I am on Facebook, and I have an Oceans of Thoughts page on Facebook, publishing page. So that I have. And that's just about it. Because I'm new to the whole author thing. So I only just started.
It changes so much. I feel like we're all new, even us old dogs that have been around for a while. It's like they always come up with something new, and it's like I changed this, and I'm just like, no, I just figured it out, and you guys
exactly, yes.
So again, we will have links in the show notes for you too. Both of her books on Amazon. We'll also have her website and her social media. She is on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. She does have her YouTube channel. We'll link you to that. She also has her book available through the Oceans of Thought online book club. So we'll have a link for that for you in the show notes. But was there anything else that you wanted to include, or any kind of newsletter or anything that you would like for our listeners to sign up for?
This is a tricky question because I don't have anything particular right now.
Okay.
I don't have anything particular right now. I didn't,
All
but
right.
I just have the books out there.
And that's perfectly fine. So they can go to your website and get your books. All right.
Get my book on the website, or go onto Amazon, Oceans of Thoughts on Amazon, and they will see both books there.
Okay.
YouTube,
Well, I want you to hang out for just a little bit, and we're going to go pull the ripcord on our tip of the week. Of course, we do this every week, and today we're going to talk a little bit about what Rosalind's problem was when she was talking about her struggles and challenges through publishing and writing her book. And she said that one of her big hangups was figuring out what to do next. It's like, write the book, you've got it already, and it's like, but it's just words on a page. How do you get that to a book format? So my tip of the week for you is to do some of the things that Rosalind advised. She went and found a coach and a writing program that took her through the process and taught her what she needed to do and how to do it effectively. Now you can, again, go to a class and learn all of these things, or you can go to a private coach. I do that from time to time with some of my authors, where I will take them literally by the hand and walk them through step by step how to take their written words and put it in a book format, and what they need to know to be included, and how to get it all done through the publishing process. It's not an easy thing, but there are many, many options for you. And I always say the first place to start is figure out how you want to be published. If you want to be self-published, then absolutely go take that class, go get you a coach, find somebody who can help you through that self-publishing process, because it is filled with pitfalls and cliffs and all kinds of problems that you're going to run into if you don't know what you're doing. So I would say seek help for that. But if you're not sure and you're thinking, maybe I want to hybrid publish, which is basically a cross between self-publishing and traditional publishing, where you have a publisher who's helping you through the process of publishing your book. Oftentimes they will take your manuscript and put it into the format that you want and take it through the process of getting it put into a book format and uploaded, and then you will become partners with them in publishing and having your book available. And then, of course, there's always traditional publishing, which is basically where you would find a literary agent. You're going to query agents until you find one who's interested in your work. And then they will go to work for you trying to find a publisher willing to accept and publish your book. And a lot of times, those things, as far as how much or how little involvement you'll have from that point on, are negotiated in the contract that you'll have with your publisher. So I would say that that's the first place you need to start. The second place is, yes, get some education behind you, even if that education is reading a book. There are so many books available out there for reasonable prices that will give you a lot of the information that you need. Now, I would never, ever tell somebody to solely rely on a single book for advice. I would say read several. See where they differ, see if you can figure out why, because this is what I do know as a coach and as a published author myself. Every single book is going to be different. Every journey between writing the book and getting it published is going to be different and have different issues. So you need to understand why each step of the way goes left or right or straight down the middle. So if you're struggling with any of this, again, reach out for a coach, or reach out, maybe possibly thinking about doing a hybrid publisher, or finding someone who can help you through that process. Now, that's not to say that the information that you need is not out there. You know, KDP, which is Amazon, has a lot of tips and tools on their website that you can download, where they'll take you through step by step. Ingram Spark, which is one of the world distributors we have here in the United States, has the same information under their tools and resources as well. So you can get the information, but sometimes the technical aspects really will trip you up. So I do say, even if you're going to try and do it on your own, is to try and get someone in an advisory capacity to lead you through, or to check to make sure you're on the right path that's going to work for you. Because I have dealt with people that tried to do it on their own, and were given not malicious advice, it's just advice that they didn't understand quite how their book different, or the person's journey different from their own. And, there's some missteps, and it ends up costing you money in the end to try and go back and fix those. Some are small, some are large, some are somewhere in between, but it's always very frustrating to the author to try and have to redo these problems. So I would say, seek advice, seek education, look for those books, look for those advisors and guides to help you through the process. I hope that's helpful for you. Of course, this is your tip of the week, and we appreciate you guys sticking around while we pull the ripcord on that. Of course, we're going to pull the ripcord on this week's episode. We want to remind you that we have a new website for you at thewritersparachute.com. We want you to go check that out. We always have new information and updates on episodes. Of course, we would love for you to follow us here on the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash the bell so you get reminders of our episodes that come out every Wednesday. And of course, we would love for you to like and comment on all of our videos. Our authors that we interview work really, really hard to bring you quality material every week. They spend their time and energy to come here and talk to me about their books so that you understand and know what their journey was like, but mostly about what their book is about. So do that. And of course, we are on all podcasting channels. So if you would just like to find us on your favorite, please do. If you find a podcast channel that we are not on, please leave us a note in the comments and we will make sure that we get on that channel. We want to make it easy for you to listen to our episodes each week. And again, a big thank you to our audience. They have made the Writer's Parachute an amazing podcast. I am so thankful that you guys are resonating with what I do every week. We have reached the top 3% globally with the Writer's Parachute, and I am just beyond words, and I can't even think of good adjectives to describe how I feel about this success. So thank you all very, very much. We're going to have some new things coming up in the weeks ahead. We will be asking for your support, and we'll give you more about that later. And we're going to open up some subscribers for some extra special events coming up. So please check back and check in those. And of course, you can follow us on social media. We are at Writer's Parachute on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now on TikTok. So please do that. And of course, finally, we want to make sure that we thank our very special guest, Rosalind, for joining us. Please go and check out her books, Oceans of Thoughts, and be looking for the third book coming out probably around the first of the year. And we appreciate you coming here and talking with us today. So thank you, Rosalind. And of course, as always, we hope that all of your writing dreams land well. Until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time in this interview. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.